Can you listen? I'm trying to open. You want me to open, and it's hard for me to open. And then when I try to open, you don't let me open.
I want to tell my parents about the baby, and I'm not going to wait any longer.
But you know, without my permission, we can't.
We can, actually.
I see everywhere you go, there's problems that follow you. With her family, with them, with us now, like...
Jovi. And then we made ultimately the decision to distance ourselves from them because they were causing a lot of issues within our marriage.
Always trying to control me, and she's a very controlling person and manipulative. That's what this jacket feels like. She got pregnant with someone else, and she just had their baby just recently, and we're still married. I don't know why I told you.
I want my kids and my friends to be saved in God's eyes and not to go to hell, but to heaven. That's all I want. Me and my kids, all of my friends.
But she's easy always to push me to the side and make me feel like a dummy. How are you able to accept a ring from Gino? And I have to work this hard to put a string on your finger. It's crazy.
Y'all, we made it. We made it to the finale episode, and it is the chit show that we've known to love and hate. Let's just get into it. Hi guys, welcome back to Nikki Faces Reality. We are here to discuss 90 Day Fiancé, Happily Ever After, heavy on the question mark. We got to the finale episode. Finally, this season felt like it went on for eternity. And next week, we finally get to the tell-all and it looks juicy. But let's get through this finale episode, okay? Before we get into it, as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hype, share, all of the things. Of course, I will include the timestamps just in case you guys want to skip around because I know that we may be sick of some of these, okay? But let's start this off with Darcey and Georgi real quick because they... had that tough conversation last episode where Georgi was like, I've been really stewing on everything that happened in Bulgaria. And, when my sister asked me about kids, I haven't stopped thinking about it. It's keeping me up at night. Darcey is already like, I knew it. And he seems so conflicted and he's trying to talk. Georgi rarely talks. Georgi rarely shares his feelings. And Darcey always says, I want you to tell me how you feel. But the minute this man begins to, she doesn't know how to act. And so he's trying to talk through it and she keeps cutting him off because again, she acts like she knows everything that he's thinking. She thinks that she can predict how this is going to end. But there's no way that you know how the ending is if you don't even know the beginning and the middle and he's trying to talk. And so he's talking, she's spiraling, and don't get me wrong. She has every right to feel frustrated, hurt even at the fact that he would even be considering children after they talked and he said that he didn't want kids at first, and she's at the age range where she can't give him that. So I totally understand internally her feeling like, damn, we've hit a dead end in this relationship. But at the same time, Darcey doesn't leave room in this relationship for both of them to have feelings. And if they're both gonna have feelings, her feelings always take priority. And that's just not right. If you're gonna be like that, just leave to an island with Stacey and leave everyone else alone. But she finds herself having the same issue in every single relationship. And Georgi, for whatever reason, keeps coming back for more and keeps wanting to work it out with her, but they have not grown as a couple. He's trying to show some growth by talking about his feelings, and she keeps cutting him off, so he just snaps.
You deserve happiness, but so do I. I can't give you what you really, really want.
I don't know why you're reacting this way.
Because you know deep down inside what you really want. You don't want to admit it.
It's hard for me because after that, being around my family. Can you listen? I'm trying to open. You want me to open, and it's hard for me to open.
He's like, you don't let me fucking talk. Let me fucking talk. And this girl starts covering her ears like... No one wants to be yelled at. I get it. Yelling is wrong. However, if someone is constantly at your throat telling you how you feel when you are trying to explain how you feel, you too would snap. So I felt like her acting like she was some wounded puppy when he spoke up for himself. For me, I know that there are a lot of situations where this is like a trauma response. I understand in a lot of situations where people may be experiencing some PTSD and like it's a real thing. I personally feel, this is my opinion, You do not have to agree. I feel like Darcey was acting like a big ass baby, and that was performative as fuck to me.
And then when I tried to open it, you don't let me open. Tired of this. I just want to try to open, have a conversation with you, to be vulnerable and open. You don't care about how I feel. That's what is bothering me.
Because he finally speaks up for himself and you continue to be a bigger victim, I don't agree with that. You can't plead for this man to let you in and then block the doorway. But once he gets a break in, right? She proceeds to get into this long monologue, which we see her do often, where she's like, you know what, do what you need to do. I'm fine without you. I've done this before.
Yeah, do your thing. I don't think it's gonna work, George.
But I love you.
No. Let me have my life, and you will not take that away from me. I'll find something else, and you will not be a part of that.
You're having your life.
No, stop this. Stop wasting my time. Stop wasting my time.
And someone else would have looked at her and been like, you crazy bitch, I'm out of here. Georgie then proceeds to put his pride aside and hugs her because he's like, you're not listening. I didn't say that I want children. You're my best friend. I want to process all of this with you.
I've done enough. Let me move on. Let me have my peace. I want you to have that. Do it. Get the over it. God damn it. It's happened before. It's going to happen again. So used to.
So he's hugging her. He's like, you're jumping to conclusions. She's like, no, it's fine. I'm used to this. Just let me go. Let me live my life. So then she goes outside, right? First of all, they both look like they've had a few cocktails, okay? She's outside talking to a producer, again, monologuing, being like, oh my God, just let me go. He's not being honest with himself. I just want him to be honest with me that that's what he wants. If you would have stuck around and stopped talking, you would have gotten some honesty. You say you want one thing, Darcey, but like you need a therapist. You do, and I love you. You're my girl. You need help, okay? Georgie is back, still in the bar, being like, she doesn't understand. And he needs to work on speaking quicker because it shouldn't take you 3 business days to let out a feeling, okay? In this situation, I don't think he's in the wrong. But just in general, you guys, it must be exhausting to be in a relationship where any little hiccup makes you contemplate divorce. I will never understand. And we know, present day, that they're still together, so it's nonsense. Anyway, let's move on to Gino. Real quick, Gino is another one that I'm like, at your big age, like there are certain things that you shouldn't really wait for marriage. And I think that in our society, it is just an issue. I feel like women are held to a certain standard that we need to learn all these things about living a domestic life. And men like Gino don't know that basic nutrition doesn't have to start and end with a marriage. We see him, I don't know where he's at because this does not look like his house. He's at this place. We see Gino making his own version of a rough charcuterie board. He again says that he hasn't eaten well because he's not married anymore and that maybe he'll start eating well again and not eating frozen meals when he finds love again. And I just think that that is insane, that your livelihood, you are putting it in the hands of another person at his big age. You know what I mean? But anyway, you guys, the producer asks him, hey, Gino, where do we stand with the divorce? And he laughs and he's like, I know everybody wants me to divorce Jasmine, but I really want to wait for the immigration to take place because I don't want to lose money on a divorce for someone that doesn't deserve it. Gino is an idiot who should be listening to the professionals. It's just so clear that he's so angry. And don't get me wrong, I've said it time and time again. I understand the anger. I understand feeling like you're getting the bitter end of a divorce. Like Jasmine now lives her happy ending and you're here, eating frozen meals. I get that. Again, I think that, yes, be angry, but also have a moment to reflect and realize the ways that you also played a part in the demise of your relationship. Jasmine may be evil for many reasons, but so are you, And I want to have empathy for Gino, but I also don't. And I don't F with his decision to call immigration twice on Jasmine. I think that that is disgusting. I've shared my feelings on that in many videos. But the immigration aside, when we talk about his anger, I know that there are a lot of people that are like, oh my God, he should just move on. He should live his life. Yes, he definitely should, you know, let karma do its thing and live his life. But think about it the other way around, you guys. Think about how sleazy we would view it if it was Gino making Jasmine, coercing Jasmine into an open marriage, and then popping out with a pregnant girlfriend. Jasmine would take him to the end of the earth. She would be out for blood. She would be making this into a whole feminist movement. She would not let us forget how wronged she's been if she was on the other side of it and had to watch Gino live a happy ending with someone else. So I just want us, I get it, they both share blame, but think about that. I thought about that this morning and I'm like, Jasmine would be going beyond immigration, which just speaks volumes to how they both are. But like, this is just such a nasty situation. But anyway, all that to say, Gino is a very angry individual right now. And I don't know what would possess him to think that this would make it a perfect moment to get on a dating site. Because this guy is seated here freaking brainstorming a dating profile. And I'm like, Gino, you have nothing to give. You are so broken inside. You are also trying to put yourself out there without closing chapters. Like, that's not fair to anyone else. So it's just insane. But while he's creating this profile, you guys, he gets a call from Uncle Marco. And Uncle Marco is like, hey, you may want to check socials. And boom, there it is. Jasmine's baby announcement. And Gino looks stunned and hurt. But he's like, she ruined my life. And
It looks like it's a baby girl, Matilda. Karma's a bitch. She's gonna get hers. Well,
I think that seeing her in that happy portrait just enraged him even more.
you know, Jasmine wasted 4 years of my life. That was time that I could have spent with someone who truly loved me and was able to have a child with them.
But I really am a big believer that you get what you put in, and karma is real. And I think that Jasmine will experience her lessons as needed. But I feel like if you go out of your way to purposely destroy her life in the way that she destroyed yours, it's not going to cancel each other out. Like, you're going to get that back. I really do believe that. So I wish that he would take that energy to like a retreat, a therapist. But instead he goes to this like tailoring place to get, his clothes right for dates, and starts word vomiting about his entire experience to the seller. And it is just too much.
And I want to feel free, right? Like, she got pregnant with someone else and she like just had their baby just recently and we're still married. She really up my life and it's like a total mess now, But I don't know why I told you, but that's just some of my background of what I'm going through.
And ultimately this place is too expensive for him because he likes to shop at thrift stores instead. And he's like, I gotta save up my money for the divorce. A divorce that he hasn't even started. So it's a mess.
I probably should have done this a long time ago and say all the K-1 visa stuff. 5 years of toxicity is a lot for a relationship, but I will not let Jasmine ruin my future.
Okay, you guys, let's move on to Jasmine and Matthew. Okay, these two and baby Matilda have now been chilling for 2 months and, they're settling in nicely. Sleepless nights, the works, it is as expected, But they're planning to have his mom come by, visit, meet the baby, and Jasmine is nervous. She's like, I've never had a mother-in-law because all my previous mother-in-laws have been deceased. She's like, so now I'm gonna have to learn how to deal with one.
But I'm very nervous because I have never had a mother-in-law or a sister-in-law. All my mothers-in-law have been dead, which is kind of nice. I mean, I'm not happy that they're dead, but I'm happy that I don't have to deal with them.
He, tells us that, his mom was really sad because, he only told her about the baby once the baby was out, which is on Matt, because Jasmine wanted him to present them before, but he didn't say anything, And so Jasmine is like, okay, well, she's on her way. Like, what have you told her about us? And Matt is like, oh, you know, I told her that you love Jesus, and I told her that you've been married before. And Jasmine's like, okay, so did you tell her? And Jasmine is like, okay, so did you tell her that I'm currently married? And he's like, no, that's no bueno. She wouldn't like that. Matt, whether she would like that or not, that is the truth. That is a fact. And you can't just make it go poof because it's not convenient. You should have thought about that when you put your raw peen in a married woman. Like, facts are facts. It's not pretty, but it's part of your story. And so Jasmine is like, oh my God, like, it seems like your mom doesn't really know who you are. You were the gym slut. Yes, he was, clearly. But the lies don't stop there, because apparently to pacify his mother into not thinking that they're going to go to hell, he went and lied a little further and said that they are engaged. Jasmine is shooketh because she's like, oh my God, why would you say that? Because this is only going to apply pressure. Now she's going to want us to rush and get married.
I did tell her that we're engaged.
Matt, I'm being serious. Why do you tell your mom we're engaged if we are not? We haven't even had this conversation as a couple.
And here's the thing, I don't often agree with Jasmine, but I do agree with this. The truth is the truth, and it's probably better to tell her all of the truth so that she has time to process before she meets y'all. But to drop the truth the same day that she meets Jasmine, she meets the baby, it's just a lot at once. And Jasmine doesn't feel like it should be her job to break this. And I agree. I think that it should be Matt. Matt is the one that owes his family the truth. But anyway, his sister and mother come by. They all look like triplets. His mother, you know, is happy to meet the baby, but she's making it very clear that this is not the order of how things should be going down. And she really just doesn't know how she's going to contain herself in this meeting, but she is willing to be a trooper, okay? Jasmine is on her best behavior, super charming. She even adds in that Matilda's middle name is after the mama, you know, really trying to butter her up. And the mom is like, you know, this is really hard for me to see him with a baby because in my eyes, you know, he's a child. And I really do think that this mom got herself in this denial that her son was gonna, you know, be married a virgin. And so to see him have a baby out of wedlock really pops that bubble, you know? But she clearly doesn't know who her son is because he was swanging his peen all over Planet Fitness. But here they are, the mom and sister are really just like, yeah, this is crazy that they would wait so long to tell us. Matt is like as quiet as a mouse. He is barely saying a word. He's just carrying the baby. And there's a point that he goes to change the baby and Jasmine is with his mom all alone. And the mom is like, yeah, you know, I was really strict. I didn't even let him have girlfriends or, you know, speak of sex. And Jasmine's like, oh yeah, I agree, you know. People should do things in the right order. And she makes them the most watered down porridge. Everyone is trying to be very polite, but it's clearly nasty. And Jasmine's like, Matt, your mom shared how, you know, she would have liked things to go. And don't you have something to tell her? And Matt is like, yeah, mom. So remember when I told you we were engaged? That was a lie. And the mom is like, red as a tomato. This lady is pale. She was red. He's like, yeah, Jasmine is actually in the middle of a divorce. And the mom is like crying because she's like, I don't want my family, my friends to go to hell. I want them all to be in heaven with me. And she's like almost hyperventilating and Matt's trying to calm her down. Jasmine gets red in the face too because she's like, oh my God, I just burst this lady's bubble.
Right, you know, to do the right thing.
We will. We promise. We regret.
We're working on it, Mom.
I want my kids and my friends to be safe in God's eyes and not to go to hell, but to heaven. That's all I want. Me and my kids, all of my friends. That's all I want.
I know, Mom, I know.
It's okay.
Relax.
It's okay.
Relax, Mama, relax.
But Jasmine continues to overshare, which is what she tends to do. But, you know, at this point, if you're going to tell her the truth, tell her all of it. They specifically left out the open marriage of it all, which is probably for the best. But Jasmine does share that right now, Matt has no rights. Gino on paper is the baby's daddy. And the mom and the sister are just like too stunned to speak. They're also worried, you know, that like they can break up and Jasmine could just leave with the baby and Matt has no rights. But she does, try to affirm them and says that, like, they are working with a lawyer, and first thing is to prove the paternity, and then after that, start the divorce. But it's been a mess, and she's aware that it's a mess. And they leave, and at the end, we see Jasmine and Matt outside of their little Airbnb, and she just feels so hurt that she hurt his mother. And he's like, yeah, I didn't want to hurt my mom either. You should have been proactive because you had 9 months to prepare,
I want to do things right.
This is not how you think this is how I expected. It's like I waited until now and then I turned it into this instead of, who knows.
I'm sorry.
You don't have to be, because I'm a grown man. I have my own choices. I don't regret anything.
And I go back and forth between feeling like these two are in love and or just like friends with benefits that are stuck with each other. But in this moment, it was really raw, but also shows how much work they have to do. They're out there and Matt's just like, no matter what, like, I choose you. I want to be with you 20 years out. Like, I'm going to do the best for you. I'm going to do right by you. And he pulls out a string, wraps it around her finger, and is like, I know you're married. I know, we're going through all of this, but will you marry me in the future, basically?
Mama, even with this string, would you marry me?
And Jasmine is in tears, and she's like, I can't say yes or no right now. I love you, and I would like to get there with you if I ever trust again, if I ever heal and get past this. But she's like, I can't say yes or no. And Matt looks so defeated. And in his confessional, he's like, damn, I can't even get her to commit to me with a string. And here's the thing. Jasmine rejects him a lot. And for a long time, I thought that she was playing it up for the cameras. And even on social media, like, she's always acting like he's not important. Even up to a few months ago, she was still being like, I'm not in love with Matt. Act like he was nothing. But then the next day, be like making out with him and like posting pictures that they're the perfect family. She's really hot and cold. The way that he was talking in this confessional makes me think that she's like this off camera too, that she's almost like giving him whiplash.
It gets pretty tiring trying to show like I support you and I want to make you happy and consistently being pushed away. I would never push her on the side like that and make her feel that type of way. But she's easy always to push me to the side and make me feel like a dummy.
But then, I love when people get humbled though, because he just can't believe that she said yes to Gino and that she committed to a life with Gino, and she can't even commit to a string with him.
How are you able to accept a ring from Gino and I have to work this hard to put a string on your finger? It's crazy.
And I'm like, you know what? Feel how you want to feel about Gino, but that was her husband, and you were inappropriate. So there's that. Anyway, you guys, let's move on to the Florida crew. I feel like so much has happened with this group of people, but we pick up with them literally the same day. So it was like the day that Lauren and Alexi left, they went on a Sasquatch journey. That evening, we see them by a fire pit. They're making s'mores, and it should be a happy, chill moment. And Andre is like, too bad those idiots left and aren't with us. Well, you're calling them idiots, so that in itself should tell you why they're not here. They don't want to be by your energy. And Jovi's like, they're great people, actually, and you guys are the ones that keep picking fights with them. Of course they left. And you guys are now trying to make us think that they're bad people. Why are y'all always fighting? To which Andre is like, you guys are the one that are always instigating. And Jovi's like, if I recall, Libby came into our room yesterday bashing Lauren. To which Libby is like, I didn't bash Lauren. I was just warning Yara, and then you blabbed. Libby and her pug face really has all of the audacity. Because Libby's basically like, how dare you make me look bad for saying the bad things that I said? The way that she wanted to F with Yara's mind and was betting on the fact that Yara wasn't gonna spill, I'm glad that Jovi opened his big ass mouth. And what's funny to me about this is that both couples have talked shit. Like, I feel like this is a group that talks about everyone. I would say that Libby and Andre are the lead aggressors, but let's backtrack. Yara did go to Libby to say that Lauren was talking shit when they were all talking shit about Andre. And that caused Libby to explode. But Libby and Andre are like dogs with a bone. They cannot let it go. And in this trip, Libby has been starting fires. So Andre, I don't understand. He acts like he hates them. At the same time, he wants Jovi and Yara to choose which couple they're going to be friends with. And Yara's like, we should be able to be friends with everyone. And then when they say that, Andre is like, you're instigators. Okay, if they're instigators, then why do you want to be friends with them so bad? And this man, this demon that we have seen season after season terrorize everyone, gets on his high horse and is like, you know, you're a dick to your wife and Andre is a dick to his. How am I the dick? Sir.
Remember something, you're not a dick to your wife, you call her ugly. And Alex, he's a dick to his wife. We all know that. What am I dick for?
Sir, be effing for real. Them being a-holes doesn't negate all of the ways that you are also an a-hole.
Andre are the drama queen. He's so dramatic all the time. He just cannot keep his mouth shut. He's like an animal, seriously.
And I love that Jovi let them have it. He was like, first of all, you were the common denominator in all of the drama with us, the drama with Libby's friends, the drama with Libby's family, the fact that she doesn't even speak to any of them.
I see everywhere you go, there's problems that follow you. With her family, with them, with us now, like.
And you know that struck a nerve. Because Libby's like, you only know surface level. You don't know how we're the victims. And everyone gets on Andre and he didn't come here with any animosity. Girl.
Jovi, you have surface level information.
Yeah.
He did not cause problems in my family.
No,
My family issues from the moment he got here. Hold on. He was merely defending himself through the entire way. And then we made ultimately the decision to distance ourselves from them because they were causing a lot of issues within our marriage.
One day you are going to look back and be like, damn, I literally have no one. And it's because I've held on to this parasite. So ultimately, Andre and Libby try to get up and walk away. And Yara's like, handle this like a man. You want to start shit? Like, end it. And they end up just walking away, running their mouth. And yeah, the reunion's going to be crazy. But finally, we got to Brandon and Julia. Julia is in full nesting mode, okay? Full. So she's here trying to sell stuff. She's here trying to sell Brandon's motorcycle. And he's like, please don't. But it looks like post-Europe, they're really settling into their lives. It looks like, you know, he got his job back. She's in full, like I said, she's in nesting mode. She even wants to get a bigger house, but they don't have big house money. I think that this house is a perfect fit for at least the first year of the baby's life. I say maybe if you get rid of all of Betty's shit, you'll have more room for this baby. But that's just me, okay? But anyway, Brandon, the little manipulative fool that he is like, you know, maybe if you want a bigger house, we should tell our parents about the baby and they would give us money for a down payment.
You know, maybe if we tell our parents about the fact that you're pregnant, maybe they would help give the down payment for this dream home of yours.
To be indebted for them forever so that they could feel more entitled to the house? Hell no. And I think what's more upsetting about Brandon, not only that he is still being breastfed, but the fact that he wants to gaslight us into thinking that his mother isn't a helicopter mom, that she means well, that she isn't overbearing, that she just is so knowledgeable and wants to share that. And until he understands that, he's going to continue having the same old drama.
Like when your mom will be finds out about pregnancy.
She'll be helicopter. You know how my mom is. She wants to be involved in everything. And, you know, that's why we need to tell her now.
No, we already are talking about this. We're not gonna tell us too early.
Julia is like, I am in a high risk pregnancy. The last thing I need is a Betty trying to tell me what to do. So no, I don't want to tell her. And I get that Julia is in a high-risk pregnancy, and I think that boundaries are important. I think that this far along now, you should probably tell your family, but I also understand her not wanting to deal with it, and it's hard to constantly set boundaries and look like the bad guy when your husband isn't supporting you, because the last thing she needs is to set boundaries and then have her man and his parents ganging up on her, making her seem like she's the big bad wolf keeping away their grandchild. And so Brandon just doesn't get how he also plays a part and why she wants to create this distance. She doesn't, it isn't a safe space for her. And Brandon keeps bitching about it, but at the end of the day, like, she gets to decide what she wants to do with her body. So I really feel for Julia because this is a hard place to be. Like, I don't think that they should be going through this all by themselves. Like, I do think that they need support, but I also understand how, you know, some support comes with a cost. And Betty is a lot. But anyway, we see them go to a restaurant. We see them ask, I think their friends. We see them reveal the pregnancy to their friends by asking this couple of friends to be the godparents, and they're shooketh. But then their excitement completely wears off when they find out that they're learning about this before Betty. And the way that these people are acting like they're so afraid of Betty and disappointing her and what the backlash will be. I'm like, Betty, this alone lets you know why Julia doesn't want anything to do with her. And I will say though, I get that Julia gets to control who she tells, but I do think that it is a foul move of her to tell these folks before the families. I was supporting her keeping that to herself until she felt ready, but I also was one of those people that thought, when you are ready to tell people, let your family be first. And I think that her friends also feel the same way, so like their excitement is just like, oh, we're the first? And so I really do need Julia to hurry up, because the way that these friends are acting, I wouldn't be surprised if they end up spilling the beans. But I think that now we're at the point where Brandon is being incessant, and he really, like, the guilt is killing him for not telling his parents. And inevitably, what I predicted is going to happen. I do have a very strong feeling that he's going to go over her head and tell them without her permission.
I want to tell my parents about the baby, and I'm not going to wait any longer.
But you know, without my permission, we can't.
We can, actually.
He is of the most annoying kind of mama's boys, and he's basically threatening her with that. But something important that Julia mentioned while talking to their friends is that 3 weeks ago, her and Betty talked over the phone. Because remember, she has not seen Betty since Betty told her go back to Russia, which for me, that was the moment that Betty put the nail in the coffin. Like, you would no longer take any priority in Julia's eyes. And that's just one of many trifling moves that Betty has made, in my opinion. But apparently they had a conversation. She didn't tell us what exactly they discussed in the conversation, but it did not end well. It ended with Julia being like, you know what, bitch? I am never stepping foot in that farm. But Julia's not the one to be like, Brandon, you can't see your parents, you can't talk. And I really do believe that, like, Brandon, you are allowed to create the relationship that you want with your parents while still honoring your wife. And I think my issue with Brandon is that he doesn't know how to honor his parents without disrespecting Julia. And it is constant disrespect. And he is always going to have drama in his life until he finds that balance. And he needs to have serious conversations with his parents and serious conversations with Julia about what the expectations are and what he is able to give in each of these dynamics. But when you get married, your wife takes precedent. But basically, he was really hurt when he heard Julia say, I'm never stepping foot in the farm.
Is this your plan all along? It's what you wanted? Put distance between me and my parents?
But if Julia doesn't feel welcome there, if she feels like she's going to be crucified every time she steps there, she doesn't have to go there. But also in general, how are these two still married? How are these two now procreating? I just will never understand how we got here, but now we're here and it's a mess. And y'all, next week is the tell-all. First of all, they're all going to be living together, meaning Matt, Jasmine, and Gino are going to be in the same house. And there's a clip of Jasmine talking to Gino. I don't think I'm ever going to love anyone the way that I loved you. I didn't want to be with Matt. And Matt is listening on the side. Insane to say after you had that man's baby. Insane. Then it looks like at the tell-all, Julia is going to break the news about the pregnancy on stage. That is diabolical. That is diabolical, Julia. Julia girl. And there's just so many things that we saw in that preview. So I cannot wait. I cannot wait to talk about the tell-all with you guys. So please come back next week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.